Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is time for another episode of Reggie's Expressions. I am Reggie, and I got my homie over here. Oh, over here, sorry. Angelo. What's going on, Angelo?
Nothing much. Que lo que mi gente? What's going on tonight? We
So,
definitely got
go ahead.
no, I was about to say we definitely have a good conversation tonight.
Absolutely. So, I just want to tell you guys thank you so much for listening to the conversation. Episode 1 and 2 are actually doing very, very amazing on the 26th or the 10th. Yeah, the 26th. I'm sorry. It's already October is almost over. Uh, we have the newest episode coming up. This is actually going to be after. I was about to get ready to plug that show, but by the time this comes out, I know it's going to be in the millions of views. So I appreciate everybody for joining the conversation. And I just wanted to add to it. I have a really good friend of mine, Free, Miss C, and Nate here, who's going to help us talk about furthering the conversation. They are also in the LGBTQIA plus community. We're going to talk to them a little bit about some of the things that kind of affect them. We just have a big plate of conversation. So we are going to just go right ahead, give it to you guys, and allow y'all to introduce yourselves. So, Ms. Free, take it away for us.
Hi, I'm Frida from Columbus, Georgia, currently living in Smyrna, Georgia, which is a suburb northwest of Atlanta. I am a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. I'm a proud same gender loving individual, um, supported by my family and friends. And I'm proud to be here today on the Reggie's Expression Show.
I appreciate you, Free. Thank you. Nate,
Me?
see?
Yes. Hello, I am C. A lot of people call me Mama C. I am originally from Washington, D.C. I've been in the Atlanta area for over, 10 years now? Been here over 10 years, on and off, moved to Florida for a little while, lived there and then came back. Love Atlanta. It reminds me of my hometown, Washington, D.C. It is so chocolate here. I love it. I am a part of the Rainbow family, all of it. I love, I've been a lesbian out of the closet since college.
Gotcha.
So I've had that experience. And I went to school in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Woo!
I have the
Okay.
experience of being a Black female lesbian living in the South.
Woo!
So,
Jeez.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a lot of stories to share. But
Absolutely.
thank you for having me, and thank you, Frida, for allowing me to join the conversation tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mr. Nate.
Yo, I am Nate, 21 years old, born in Florida, raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I am, I wasn't, yeah, I'm gonna start with school. So I went to Campbell High School and stuff like that. I am a part of the Rainbow. I It's kind of tricky because I'm kind of swaying myself to a no label because there's just so much going on here. I just don't want to be. It's just I don't want to be a label. It's just
I
too
love
much.
that. I love
You know
that.
what I'm saying? Like I don't care type thing. But if you want to put a label on me, I would consider myself bisexual because who's gonna tell me no? Who's gonna tell me yes? You know what I'm saying? So, born in the South, raised in the South. Love my collard greens and fried chicken. You feel me?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I appreciate that, Nate, because you represent where I love that kids are. They don't have to put themselves in labels. I know that when Free, myself, Miss C, and Dax, we old gays, OGs, honey. So,
Oh, geez.
people had to tell us, we had to tell folks who we are, because if we didn't, we were hung from the raptors, you know what I'm saying, in terms of identifying. So I love the fact that this new age don't feel that pressure to have to do so, and they can live however way they want to live, whether it's with a woman or a man, or if it's a man that was a woman or a woman that was a man, whoever, because love comes in all forms and things of that nature. Now, Angelo, Angelo and I have been friends for quite some time. The co-host thing is actually very recent. Funny story, we met on Adam for Adam. This was like in 2012. And he's rolling his eyes because he's a little embarrassed by the story. But long story short, we forged a friendship and been doing this for quite some time. And, one of the things that I've, kind of been in charge with, when my mom died earlier this year is actually speaking up for people who don't necessarily get a chance to speak up for themselves. And that happens a lot in this community where people are frozen or stagnant or stale because they don't have the language to be able to explain themselves because they don't know what they identify as. So my mom and my good friend Darlena was my inspiration in terms of Darlena saying living life on purpose, and my mom, who was mentally ill for most of her life for 70 years, and unfortunately didn't have a voice of her own, and she passed away, tragically that way. So that sparked me wanting to be a part of the conversation, but I was waiting for someone to bring me in, and I realized, no, I don't have to do that. I can create the conversation.
Right.
And bring whoever I want to bring into the conversation. So this is what I'm doing here. And that's why I'm extremely passionate about it. So thank you so much. And one of these days, I would love for all of you guys to get an opportunity to meet each other because Free is one of the nicest people I've ever met. Miss C, Mama C, I've known you as Mama C since I've known Free. And I've never met you before. So you have been a staple in her life as well as mine because she talks about you highly. And Nate, you just exemplify what I wish I could have been when I was your age. You're very wise beyond your years and you're smart and you just don't care what people think. So enough of this love fest here. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of the topic. So you guys have all identified where you are in part of this conversation. Miss C being saying lesbian. Free, I love what you said, same gender loving, because I'll tell you my theory on that here in a second, but I love that you said same gender loving. And then I identify as same gender loving, gay, queer. And Angelo, what do you identify as?
Same gender loving. Same gender loving.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of, because of my background, came out bisexual and then identified as being gay or queer. But it's just a choice that I made in my life. But yeah, I kind of identify the same way. I mean, we all have different coming out stories, and hopefully you guys would seen the previous episodes of my story. But we all have a different coming out story and perspective in life. But yeah, I started off bisexual and then made a decision to just be with men. Just my decision.
Same here. The person that binds me and Free together is Darlena. She was a girl I liked in high school, and unfortunately that didn't work out because I was battling with my sexuality at the time too. I also went the route of bisexual. And then about 28, I met this man and I was just like, oh my God, which is hilarious because I found a book of a story that I wrote in 2008 about that gentleman, which is hilarity. And I was like, this guy is it, honey. He is going to be doing, I love him. And I went home to my dad and I was like, did. I done met a man, honey. And he was like, I love you, son. And then 2 months later, we broke up. And I was like, you remember when I had said that thing I said? Well, I'm still gay, but, we ain't in love no more.
I rescind one part, but not the other.
Exactly. I'm still gay. Surprise! But you'll never get a chance to meet him. So we're going to get right into the topic as I was stating. The next question that I have for you guys, or next topic, is how and when did you come out? If you want to share this story, you don't have to, but at what point and how did it happen for you? I know for myself, like I said, I just had that conversation with my dad because I was in love with a man who I thought I was going to be with for the rest of my life, and it only lasted 2 months. How did that happen for you? And maybe did you come out?
Well, my ex-husband outed me, so I didn't get a chance to come out on my own. But I'm not mad at him or anything like that. I'm cool with him. He's a very good man. He's Nate's dad, so I have to say everything I can possibly say about him.
I am impartial.
But I was married to a man, and we had a conversation. You know, told him I like girls. He said me too. And how did he out me? I think we liked two different type of women, and I wasn't giving him what he wanted. I haven't asked him if I could talk about this publicly, so I don't want to get into too much. But anyway, he made a decision to call my mom and outed me. At first, I was upset, but it was so freeing. I remember the next day, just being free, like, wow, I don't have anything to hide anymore. And it actually grew our relationship closer. We became more friends. He would take me to strip clubs, get me lap dances. He hooked me up with my first girlfriend.
Okay.
My very first sexual experience with a woman is something he concocted. But actually, girls, he taught me a lot. I knew nothing about being with a woman sexually, but he taught me all of that. And not saying too much, but yeah. So I mean, so my coming out story was all his doing, but I'm grateful for that.
Sounds similar to my story, but
I remember hearing your story.
It sounds similar to my story without the whole going out to the clubs and whatnot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I dig it. I love it.
And Free, you said, and I'm gonna, it's not gonna be a long pen, but you said same gender loving, and sometimes with these, when you identify, to me, when I see gay, I see lesbian, I see bisexual, I see and trans, I see white faces. There's very few LGBTQ people like us out there, especially on the banners and things that we see. So, same gender loving, I've heard from a lot of Black queer, Black gay people, as a way of identifying. And I just think that that's absolutely amazing because I actually like that,
I like it better than lesbian. I think lesbian is exclusive. When I hear the word lesbian, it means, okay, I only like women. They don't want nothing else at all to do with men. Same gender loving, I think, is more open and receptive. Like, I'm sexually attracted only to women.
Okay.
In my career field, I've seen all types of stuff on men. They do some crazy stuff, these people I work with. I mean, they really like, so you ain't attracted to this? Like, they pull out the wee stuff like that. I'm like, no, there's nothing for me. I love men socially.
Right.
I really do. I think I identify more with men socially, because I love fantasy football, NFL. And like I said, me and my ex-husband, our relationship actually got stronger once I was out. Before then, we couldn't stand each other. I mean, we was always arguing, being in front, but once that was outed, me and him, I remember we would go to the mall simply just to look at women. A woman passed by, he's like, is that your type? That you like that? And I said, that's your type, Jerry. You like that? We would literally do it good. So I'm not excluding, I am excluding men sexually. That nothing about that turns me on. If I ever do meet a man that turns me on, then I guess I change it to bisexual, but I am same gender loving. Sexually, I'm very attracted to women sexually, especially women, thicker women. I don't like skin and bones. It's so unattractive to me. Thicker women is not, it's not attractive at all.
Like for
real. So that's why I like the term same gender loving. Well, I can't remember when I very first heard that term, but when I was like, that sounds so more open and receptive to me. So
good. Okay.
Are we gonna talk about Darius McCurry?
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard that he is dating a trans woman. So, congrats to him in
It's
terms
beautiful.
of, identifying who he loved. I mean, he didn't
Right.
have to. And I think it's great because, there are some beautiful trans women out there. And I think that's absolutely amazing being able to live in your truth.
Yeah.
Now, Miss C, same question if you don't mind answering.
Coming out.
My coming out story. It was, the typical, I guess, the typical coming out story for the young people and well, the people in my generation. I came out in college. My sister outed me per se. She walked in on me and my girlfriend at the time laying in the bed together. And my girlfriend at the time was my sorority sister. So she walked in on us and we were just laying in the bed together. But people had, people was whispering because I was hanging out with this certain sorority sister who had the presence of a stud, and I was a femme. So people was whispering about what was going on, why is she hanging out with this certain person. But so my sister called my mom, and my mom.
Good question. Can you explain what femme and stud is?
I don't know if I can. I can give you an example of one, but I don't know. They
Sure.
changed so much. They changed. I have heard. I am old school lesbian. Okay, I came out. So I was in college in '96. So I probably came out in '98, '99. So years ago, and the terminology has changed. Like Frida talking about same gender loving. What? Lesbian. Okay.
I definitely sympathize with you because I'm old
Yes,
school
I
as
mean it's
well.
just so much now, and I'm in the field of HR, so I have to really take these steps because you have to say, do you identify he, she, them, they? I mean, it's so, and I have family, I have best friends that has transgendered into a different sexuality, and but still in the HR realm, I have to say, what do you identify as? He, she, or I have to say my pronoun is she. It's just so I'm old school, lesbian.
Right.
I don't have a problem with what they're doing, but I'm old school lesbian. Okay.
Gotcha.
A stud is a female who presents herself in a manly manner. I would say she wears the men's clothing. And then with that, back in the day, we used to identify them as, and I hate this word. My mother used to say this word, dykes or bulldoggers or something.
Yeah.
I hated that word, and I don't.
It's very derogatory. Yeah, it's very demeaning.
Yes,
Very demeaning.
I don't hear it now.
No.
I think I heard it when
Well, because when I was growing up, those were the synonyms that I heard were,
me too.
dykes and and even then, not knowing myself because everyone that knows my story, I was 21 when it came out, but even prior to that, when I heard the terms, even within my own community and the Hispanic community, it kind of made you cringe because it's like, in my culture using the word maricon or, other terms that I probably won't use tonight, but it does make you cringe.
It does.
And
it does.
Yeah, I definitely understand with you, and I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Thank you. But yes, so not that terminology, but just stud. I am more attracted to studs. I have dated more studs than I have feminine lesbians, the lipstick lesbians. Okay. I'm a film. I identify as a film. I feel comfortable wearing a dress. I am always pretty. I'm always dressed up. So I identify as a film. I am not stud, but I am attracted to both. I will look at someone that Frida will look at and say, "Oh, she looks good. She's thick." I will look at her too as well and date her as well. So
love it.
So, so I do. Now, I also will date a transgender going from a female to a male. I have dated. I've never slept with a person, but I have dated one, so I am open to that. I don't know if I could fully love that person because I am attracted to females.
Right.
So I don't know, but I am open to dating anyone who knows how to love me. I'm just more attracted to females,
Right.
So, but my coming out story is that my sister outed me to my mom. And then my mom called me and asked me, was I gay? She was like, are you gay? Are you? And I was crying and I was like, why would you ask me that? She was like, because you cut your hair. I had long hair and I cut it off. Yes. I said,
that's the prize back in the day.
Yeah. I'm like, what? She's like, because you cut your hair. I said, well, guess what? I got the same hairstyle you got. Are you gay? I mean, offense to that, No, I ain't gay, and but it was a long road for us, me and my mom, a long road, and she didn't like it. But now we're better. We're in better space. I have a little brother who is who's gay, same gender loving. Nice. He's younger than me. He's 12 years younger than me, so he's in a different generation. And I also have an older brother who is 10 years older than me that is in the same gender loving. Now, you need to get him on here and have a conversation with you. He will get you together about it. But
I was about to say, we will probably get the OG.
Yes.
We get the OOG.
Yes.
So how did mom take that? How did mom take all of her kids being in the community?
She didn't. She thought I was rubbing off on them. She thought it was more of a rub off, and then my dad died. My dad died when my little brother was young. So she pushed on him and made names on my little brother and called him certain, it was bad. The F word every time. It was hard for him. And when I came out, my little brother and my little sister got it bad. She was like, she said, y'all gay because see gay. And she took it out on my youngest siblings. But I was in college. They was away at home. I was out in college. They're in DC. I'm in Alabama. And she still took it out on them. So it was hard. It was hard for them. It was really hard for them. But we're in a better place now. My mother is she's more open, more understanding. I think Big Frida have brought her to come to be open more, not this other one from New Orleans. Love her rainbow family. Beautiful. So we're in a better place, and I'm thankful for that.
Good. My condolences about your dad. And I'm glad, that we have stories because I know, being in the Black community. And by the way, explain to them your background, Angelo.
Well, my whole background? It's funny. It's funny because we were having this conversation the other night about Afro Latino and everything else. But I'm Dominican by descent. Both of my parents are Dominican, but of course, anybody that knows history in the Dominican Republic, you have, your native Indian, which is the now, and I also have French and Spaniard in my blood. So when a lot of people ask me what do I identify with, until actually Reggie and I started having that conversation of backgrounds and identity, I consider myself an Afro Latino. And I know we had that conversation the other day as far as, are you Jamaican descent? Are you still Afro American? Are you African American or whatnot? But at the end of the day, I look at it and it's like, I am Afro Latino. I mean, most of my bloodlines did come from or does come from the West Indies, the West African descent. So I'm not going to deny what a lot of my people would deny, because a lot of people would say, "Well, are you part Haitian?" Yeah, I am. I have Haitian in my blood too. and I'm not going to deny that. And yeah, I mean, I embrace my African ancestry, so I, yeah,
He'd be like,
to
"Kilo,
me
Kilo."
it's great. To me, it's a great experience.
He throw out
Yeah.
that Spanish, you know what I'm saying? Trying to, I'm like, all right, Angelo, we see you, honey, we see you.
Yeah, but just because you speak Spanish does not necessarily mean that you do not have a history.
Right, that's true.
And to me, we all have a history, and I'm not going to deny my history just
Mhm.
because I want to conform to a narrative.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so that's just me.
So, Mr. Nate, we are
I
on to
was about to
you.
say, so Mr. Nate,
Yeah, you are.
you're the
I'm
youngest
the
of all of
baby.
us.
I'm the
So,
baby.
He's a
what
new
is
day.
your
I'm just saying.
perspective and your
I'm not
coming out
OG.
story?
I'm just G.
All right, now.
Okay,
There you
I
go.
love that. All right.
So my coming out story, it was crazy. Not crazy, but like I think about it, I don't know why I was even scared. So I think it was 2017. So 2017, I think it was around New Year's or something like that.
Mhm.
And um if I can remember, it was I just wanted something to say basically. I
Okay.
think it was something to say. Like I was just bored. I was just like New Year's, like time to like, you know what I'm saying, let's not hold nothing back. Let's go in clean, clear, and no secrets, none of that stuff. So I was on Snapchat one day, I was like, well, let me tell you guys a little about me. And I came out as strictly as gay. So I
Okay.
came out as gay. And at this time my uncle and my uncle's girlfriend had my Snapchat. Everyone was like, "Oh, I'm happy for you. Oh, I knew. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm supportive. I'm still your friend. I don't care none of that stuff." But then my uncle, he had sent me a message. First, he said he wanted me out to eat.
Mhm.
That never happened. So, he sent me a long paragraph, and this paragraph said, "I think I can find it to this day, but I gotta like search and dig for it." But he was like, basically to sum it up, I love you. I'm here for you. Just because you come out as a gay don't mean just because you came out as gay doesn't mean that you are any less of a man. You're still going to do what a man has to do to provide for the family.
Right.
You're still looked up as a man. You're still going to do, you know what I'm saying, what you have to do around the house. You know what I'm saying, to take care of things. So
Mhm.
that was understandable. I was like, well, shoot, good. Like, okay, well, it's not like you accept me. My
Mhm.
dad was something different. So no. My mom didn't know that I had came out as gay yet, but I
Okay.
told Snapchat because I just wanted clout or something like that. I don't know. So I went to my mom and I was scared. I was nervous. This is when she was in a relationship with I think Nana. So I was scared. I was nervous, but I was happy at the same
Mhm.
time. I was like, I got so much energy. Like, don't come out. I'm just scared.
Right.
Everything is bubbling and everybody think, Nate, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I gotta tell y'all something, but I don't feel like it type thing. So
Mhm.
my mama, I was like, Mom, I gotta tell you something. Then she was like, yeah, okay. I'm in there. I'm just jumping. I'm just like jittering and going back and forth. Like, well, I'm gay, basically. She was like, okay. I'm like, I don't get an award, an applause, a card or something. Like, I just told you a milestone or something like that. But
Mhm.
she was like, Nate, look at me. I'm like, okay, yeah. So I was just, she was like, Nate, I'm gay, stuff like that. I would still love you. She always told me all my life, I don't care if you're gay, straight, crippled, or crazy, I will always love you. So
I was gonna ask you to say that if you did. I'm glad you did.
gay, straight,
Gay,
crippled, or
straight,
crazy,
cripple,
I always
crazy.
love you. So it was like, then I think about it, I'm like, well, duh, of course she gonna send me. So I'm like, let me go somewhere that has like more of a challenge. I called my dad.
Uh,
No, I didn't even call my dad. I called my dad's ex-wife at the time.
uh-huh.
Myself. So I was like, hey, Renee, her name Renee. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? She said, I'm good. I'm like, I gotta tell you something. She said, okay. I'm gay. She said, oh, okay, well, I love you, I'll always be there for you. I'm like, okay, well, can you tell dad I don't feel like calling him? Type thing. So she said, okay, I'll tell him stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a conversation. mind you, before this, my dad and I don't have a conversation. No, like not much. To this day, we don't have really much of a good relationship. We don't never text, never call, anything like that. So at this time, when he knew, he was so quick to call us. He didn't just call me; he called my brother. And not only that, we sat in the room. He said, "Go get a Bible." I said, "Oh Lord, here go this stuff, right?" So he told us to read some verses and stuff like that, yada 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 yada. Then he said, "For this reason, I won't support you. I won't. I'm not encouraging it. I don't believe it, and stuff like that." And if it has to go as far as not paying for your school lunch or paying for your phone bill to not support you, then that's how it has to be. So I was like, at the time, I was like, okay. I was like, okay, well, okay, like nothing. But then over time, I was like, okay, well, this can be it. Because how my uncle support me so much, and he right here, like he in town, but my dad like 24, 27 hours away in a whole nother state, just gonna deny, you know what I'm saying, not support and stuff like that, and really ain't been there. But it kind of did something to me. So I don't want to say I got into a kind of depression or something, but I wasn't feeling right. So I went on kind of like a rampage, and I guess he had my snap. A lot of family members had my Snapchat, and I think after this, I just took everybody off. But I said on my Snapchat, I was like, "I'm gay. Accept me, or get the f out my way, or get out my life, or something like that." So I don't know how in the world he saw that, but he saw that, and I was at school. He called me. He was like, "Are you busy?" I was like, no, you know, at school. I guess he couldn't wait. So he said, "Oh, so you think that you grown to where you can say what you want to say on Snapchat about me?" And I was like, "Well, more people did not accept me other than you, but if you feel like it was directed towards you, then I guess it's about you." Right. So he said something like, "We talk more when we get home," or something like that. I don't know, but he never called me back after that. He tried to scare me or something like that. Then moving on, like through this is when mom was still dating Nana and stuff like that. So I was talking to Nana about it, and I was like, it's just irking me. It's irking me so much because like my dad really feels like he can just like, is this him getting more like of a reason not to talk to me, or like, you know what I'm saying? Because like he always told me, like, even when I went up there, because I would visit him during the summer and stuff like that to see him, he was like, "I don't think you can make it in Atlanta. I don't think you can, do it. That's not the environment for you," and stuff like that. He wouldn't be happy for me for some reason. I don't know. But it's just I think I took it out on like the wrong people, or took it out on other people, because I was talking to Nana, and then someone told me to text Renee, his wife, ex-wife, or something like that. And I was basically telling her how I feel, and then for some reason she felt like I was talking about her. She said, "I did all this for you, and you gonna say this to me?" I was like, "This ain't about you." So it got me a whole nother level. But it just came to me to was like, it's just nothing. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's just crazy how people really get their families, lose their families. Lose their families over how they're coming out. It's you know what I'm saying? That's why I just want to switch more over to a no label, because it's like, I don't care basically if my dad accepted or not. I don't care what anybody accepted or not. It's just the simple fact that it got to go to this far extent because of how they are as a person in loving, or how they want to live their life to be. And it's just, I just saw it. I'm still a happy person. I'm happily doing what I want to do. Nobody's telling me nothing different. Still loving myself, loving everybody else. If you like it, you like it. You don't. Move on. But just seeing like the population of like, because I'm very blessed being in this family that like accepts and just loves. Because like, I see other people's story, them coming out, people getting kicked out their homes, up in their face and stuff like that. So it's just like, I'ma just leave the whole. I'm not saying leave the LGBT alone, because I support them fully. But it's I just really feel like, I'm not saying I'm making a movement, because I'm not standing against. I'm like saying, I'm not on the street saying go no label. I'm not doing all that. So I'm just like, I'm gonna just step away and just stay on no label, because it just, once you see like, you don't have to put so many labels on you. You don't have to put a category over what you like to do or what you are. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to label myself limitless, no labels. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell what I can and can't do. That's one of my posts on the Instagram. So
I I appreciate that, and I can tell you, Free and I have been friends actually going on 2 years this year. I mean, I've always known of Free, and her sister and I were close with our friend Arlena in common, and uh, long story short about accepting, like, it was almost immediate. The first time I met Free, it was like we were taking pictures. She was in her uniform, and Carlos and I, were both at our friend's mom's house, and it just, I think within like 6 months later, we were sick on the phone together, just be on the phone talking for hours. And Free always said, Reggie, if I don't talk to you, that don't mean I don't think about you. That don't mean I don't love you. That just means I don't need to talk to you every day. So she's always been a beacon of light, and like I said, meeting Nate has definitely opened my eyes, and I love what you represent, what you just said, because at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter. We shouldn't be losing families, and we shouldn't be losing friends over this, but yet we still are, and that's why we have to normalize these conversations so they can understand, whoever, because there are some people who are out there who are small-minded, that we are the same as they. The only thing is we just love differently. The same emotions, the same stress that I get about Carlos when he, don't do what I ask him to do. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I still get frustrated the same way, everybody else does. Just because I'm gay doesn't necessarily have to be who I yell to the mountaintops. Shout out to those who do. But for me, as long as I can live life and be happy, and I can just have a good life at home, that's all that matters. So I appreciate you guys telling me those stories. So the next question that I have here for you guys, and you can tell me if you want to answer, because again, like I said, I want to make sure I safeguard your stories. Are there any stereotypes that you've heard about being, about what you identify as, that you just absolutely despise? Example, for me, the one thing that I hear a lot is that a lot of people think that gay men want to be women. And I love women. I love Black women. I stand for y'all. But I love being a man because there's privileges that I have that you guys don't. And I'm aware of that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to have a period every month, and I don't have to go through menopause. I don't have to go through any of that. So that is a thing for me, because a lot of small-minded people think, well, why don't you, you just want to be a woman, or you want to be, whatever, other than being a man, because they can't identify a man loving another man. And that's just something that always, it's like nails to a chalkboard for me. Same thing for Carlos. If you call him a woman, you'll see a flash of like anger in his face, just because people think that that's the case. So are there any stereotypes? This is also for you to
I think it's the reverse for us,
Oh, okay.
for Frida, because of the way Frida appearance may be, is that she wants to be a man because of her appearance. So it's the opposite for us, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. But I think it's the opposite for us because of her appearance. And I think the question all the time, well, you're not lesbian. You don't look like a lesbian. People question me.
Oh, yeah.
They be like, baby, you sure? You sure, baby? Because you in the South. You sure, baby?
Yeah. Yeah, I get the question, you a lesbian? What? I don't have that hard exterior about myself, so I can't be a lesbian, So I think it's the opposite for us.
Gotcha.
So the only thing I was gonna say is, I remember my mom once asking me, because of the preference of clothes that I wear. A lot of people call them men's clothing. I don't call them men's clothing. Once I put them on, they're free to clothes. Right. I just happen to like it, and the store got the department label wrong by putting it in the men's section.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know why they put this over here, but I like it, and I'm not a man. But the store decided to label it as men's clothing. Right. Once I get it, it becomes free to clothing. I like it. I've gone to the women's section before. I never saw anything over there that I liked. Even when I was little growing up and was forced to wear dresses, never liked it. I grew up a tomboy my whole entire life. But the thing that I despise the most about being gay is people automatically assume, oh, you must have been abused when you was growing up. You must have been molested or something like that. I don't believe that's everybody's story. I was sexually abused by a woman growing up that was supposed to be my babysitter, but that before that even happened, I knew that I was different than the other kids. So I don't consider that the reason for me. It could be the reason for others, but I don't like that they automatically assume that one, because I wear what this societal norm determines to be men's clothing, that I want to be a man, and two, that I must have been abused. So those are the two things that I really despise to answer that question.
Okay, Mr. Nate.
I despise. I don't really have much of a despise in that kind of like how you asking it, but I do despise how like as is I kind of understand this in the same sense, but like I kind of do despise it because when you're gay or when you're part of the LGBT and if you're a black male, you have your wall up. When you have your wall up, you have standards. And we have standards, you put yourself on a high pedestal that like, you know what I'm saying? Like people think that they're like better when they're gay. And like you are in a sense, you know what I'm saying? You're free, you're open and stuff like that. But it's just the fact that you don't have to do too much. What I mean by too much is you don't have to say, oh, like you try like talking down on somebody else.
Right.
And when they try to talk down on you, you want to feel offended because you feel like they're being homophobic. Okay. So it's just
I get what you're saying.
I get it because like it's been a hardship and like LGBT has came a long way. And like you know what I'm saying, give you your props and stuff like that. But this is like you're still human. You still bleed the same blood everybody bleeds. You still do the same thing. So it's like you just can't say that everybody's beneath you. Right. On the sense. It's just I see a lot of LGBT hate. That I mean I see it on both ends, but like me being a part of community or per se or seeing more of the LGBT, it's like they're spreading more hate on the heterosexuals than in my opinion, in my eyes. I probably this is this generation. But it's just I just hate how like gay black men has just been talking so much down on people in any kind of way. Oh, she a sissy, oh she a girl, oh just identify them as how they am because how they are. I like being masculine. I like being masculine. I like being a boy. I like the question, is he a top bottom verse? I like the question of is he straight or gay? Just because of the simple fact that I can be open, like I can be free. Like you know what I'm saying? I don't want that, oh, this like so you looking me up and down, oh girl, oh boy. You know what I'm saying? I hate that kind of label. Because like it just puts you on a limit that people think that you have and it just I don't know, it just kind of irks me.
I like what Nate said.
Go ahead.
About that, especially, and Freya said too, here in Atlanta, we have, they have labeled themselves black gay men here in Atlanta have to be on a certain level of prestige with driving certain types of cars or living in certain areas. They have did that. They put their self on that level here in Atlanta. They have to look a certain way. They have to dress a certain way. They have to go to Lennox after church, or they have to, they have to do that. They've done that to themselves here in the Atlanta area.
And what I was going to say to that is, and I mean that is very specific to Atlanta. I'm not from there, but a lot of it, I do see that among other. It's just different when it comes from white people. Theirs is more of a catty kind of, scratch your eye out kind of thing, like two, people fighting in a ring. So it exists in the white spaces. But one of the things I know is we go out, like what you were saying earlier, we identify ourselves as these things, which puts us in a box, right? And then what that does is we end up losing our families and friends just to identify as these things. And then we go out in the culture and we still got that negativity that we're having, that we're fixing. And I always say, and you guys have heard this many times, hurt people hurt people.
Right.
So if we haven't cleaned that up and we over here trying to have relationships, we're going to bring that with us. And it's going to be worse because you got family members and people that you're close to that give it to you all the time. And it's in real time and it's affecting you in that way. And then you go out and you are looking for someone or something and you don't know exactly what it is to validate you. So you're going to shit on everybody else that is not what you're looking for when you don't even know yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that being Black, especially in the South with being, gay and, us being in the Bible Belt, it hits us a lot harder because we have pastors and people that really prey on us by reading Leviticus and saying all these Bible quotes saying that, we're going to be abominated or abomination if we sleep with the man or if we sleep with the woman. But we don't hear that same intensity when we see people, eating shellfish or wearing, mixed linen. But then we get that question, well, that's Old Testament and New Testament. So we understand that there was two different testaments, and we acknowledge that some of those rules don't exist or, include everybody. So we put out a new version, but yet we don't fill in those nuances that have come now. That's my gripe when it comes to religion. Now, I don't have anything against spirituality. I think spirituality is very different from religion. What a lot of people are chasing the religion part, which is man-made. And then spirituality, I think, is just something that you feel. Like I do feel that there's a higher being. So I still name him as Father God because that's what I'm used to. But I'm not here like, oh my God, please just, forgive me for because at one point before when I really kind of accepted myself, I used to pray, and anything that happened wrong, I always equated it to being gay. Oh, that happened because I was gay. That happened because I'm out in a relationship. And that was just that was also the internalizing that I did in terms of being gay, right? And then also just hearing the stuff that my pastors would say, and that would be my only, just because I was searching for a reason. So that's my thing. Now, I want to ask you the same question too, Dax. What are some stereotypes that you despise, if you have any?
Well, I have a few. Being like Nate said, coming across as masculine. The question always comes up is who's the female in the relationship, who's the top, who's the bottom, and that's why can't I be both?
And we don't go asking straight people who's the top and who's the bottom. We don't care. We know how that shit works. Why are you worried about what we do?
Exactly.
I know.
How about both of us? Both of us. We pump purses. That's what we do.
And sometimes purse first, right? But that's one of my pet peeves. And also one of my other pet peeves is, why are you gay? Like, there's a reason for you to be gay.
Right.
And there's no reason. It's just who I am. I always knew, and Frida, your story, I don't know if you heard my story before. I was raped when I was 13. And a lot of males do not share that story because, why would a male get raped, right? I mean, it's unheard of. And I was, I will tell my story, but before that even happened to me, I knew who I was. It's just a catalyst of what ended up being, you know what I mean? And I hate the fact that people would equate my experience of being raped to being gay.
Right.
And then I also hate the fact that because you were raped, every man is a pedophile. I hate that correlation where because you had that experience of being raped, now you're labeled as a possible pedophile. Statistically, pedophilia occurs more in the heterosexual persuasion, should I say, and I'm just being nice and polite, than it does in the gay community.
And it's because it's power. It's because they're
Right,
chasing.
it's a power grab. Yeah, it is a power grab. But people don't understand that just because you had an experience does not necessarily mean I'm going to pass on that experience to somebody else.
Right.
But the whole notion that you were raped and you're gay, it's kind of like connect the dots, right? You're raped, you're gay. Now you're going to kind of like pass on the infection, should I say? And I mean, I'm being facetious, but that's kind of like how I feel. Is like you're just passing it along. Another pet peeve of mine is, I'm a bigger guy, and like Nate was talking about in the community, how we kind of infight and hate each other. And I experienced that. I came out when I was 21. I mean, I knew that I was gay, yeah, before that, but being part of the community happened when I was 21. And trying to fit in the gay community in 2000 and 2001 was kind of difficult for me, because I didn't know where I fit in. Did I fit into, I grew up when I came out, the whole circuit party thing, twinks, cubs, chubs, all these definitions and subcategories were coming up. And I didn't know where I kind of fitted in. And in a way, I kind of hated myself because I didn't know where I fitted in the gay community, because I was being rejected by the quote unquote jocks, the twinks, the circuit parties and all this other stuff. And when you're 21, you kind of just try to plug yourself in and try to see where you fit into the whole situation. It's your experimental stage. You know what I mean? You're trying to experiment and find out where you fit in. And it took me a while to love myself in order for me to find myself. If that makes any sense. Because like I said before, sometimes you have to look inward. You have to love yourself in order to find out where you're going to go in life. Now, I mean, I'm 29 for the 14th time, but it's a joke. But I'm 43 years old. I mean, and it took me a while to get to this stage to kind of accept myself, and not only accept myself, is also the LGBTQIA plus community also needs to understand that as individuals, as lesbians, as gays, as bisexuals, as trans, as queer, as the plus, and everything else that comes before it, we also we want to be part of that, that acceptance. And as even though we think that we're a minority, it's like you and I will call it, and I'm probably gonna get some backlash for this, but I think what's happening in Atlanta, when you were explaining what's going on there, it's kind of like the elite alphabet mafia, right? You have to personify yourself to be a certain way when really you're just like everybody else. The only difference between you and me is money.
And to be honest, to name it, it's really homophobia, just internalized, because us calling out each other in that way, you know what I'm saying? And until we understand, and I'm, myself included, that we all, like you said earlier, Nate, we all bleed the same. There is going to be this question about like, well, oh damn, they got a new alphabet today, or oh my God, what is it now? That's going to continue to happen because there's a lot of us who are still trying to identify. And I just, my point really quickly is that, you shouldn't have to identify. You shouldn't have to come out, right? We do. And I said this on the first episode. We put ourselves in boxes, even though we hate the boxes that we put ourselves in. You know what I'm saying? Other people put us in boxes, and that's something that we despise, but we're so quick to put other people in boxes. And in reality, like you were saying, Nate, it's complicated. It's many things. It ain't just one thing. Yeah, I might be gay tomorrow a day, but tomorrow, I might be bisexual or this or whatever. And I feel like you should do whatever it is you feel you want to do.
I wanted to say something about what Angelo said about he had to love himself in order to find himself. And I thought that was profound because people don't pay attention to what they don't love.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Woo!
in order to find yourself,
I was not ready for the depth of that. Okay.
So it's impossible for you to do anything for yourself without love being involved. And once that is very important. And love, my favorite definition of the word love is anticipating the needs of others. So once you start loving yourself and you start anticipating your needs, that would be your catalyst in order for you to find yourself and make yourself better. And once you love yourself, it opens up you into a space to be loved the way you deserve to be loved.
Girl, you better hush, girl. Oh my God.
It's funny that you say. It's funny that you say that because a lot of being part of the quote unquote bear community, right? Yeah. Everybody thinks that you have a specific plug, right? You're only attracted to this particular type. Right. And to me, it's kind of like, no, I'm not attracted to a particular type. What I'm actually attracted to is the person, the personality, your intentions, who you are internally. Because externally, you externally, we are who we are externally, but really the inside is what dictates how we treat each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and also,
go ahead.
Also, where you were saying about the book of Leviticus, the way I see the Bible is supposed to be taken seriously, but not literally. And so I'm very weary of preachers and churches who take the Bible literally, because I've not met one person today in today's world who takes the Bible literally. If you literally do everything the Bible says do, you would not be here. Your eye would be gone, your finger would be cut off, and
you'll be blind from one eye.
Right. And then when they want to bring up the book of Leviticus, my first response is, okay, don't tell me what Leviticus said about homosexuality, because you're not doing everything Leviticus says about homosexuality. Tell me what Jesus said. Jesus says nothing about homosexuality. That tells me it wasn't a big enough issue for him to speak on, then it shouldn't be a big enough issue for any preacher in any church to speak on. And when Jesus even referenced Sodom and Gomorrah in the book of Matthew, he says they was destroyed because of inhospitality. How do you get inhospitality confused with homosexuality is way beyond me. Jesus destroyed them because they refused to accept his people, his angels, and then when they came in, the way they treated him. So he was more concerned with how we treated people than whether some angels want to get raped by a couple of possible homosexual men. So I'm always weary of people. And that argument to this day, I've never had a preacher or so-called Christian to be able to adequately answer those questions that I have. If you're going to come to me with Leviticus, I don't want to hear about Leviticus. Tell me what Jesus said.
Well, in my argument to that, being raised Catholic with some voodoo tendencies, the question is, what would Jesus do, right? Exactly. Leviticus is the Torah. It's the Old Testament. Jesus came after that. So who did Jesus spend most of his time with, right? If you look at the New Testament, he was with prostitutes, the indigent, the poor, the enfranchised, who we are. You know what I mean? That's who he spent most of his time with. So.
Right. So with that being said, guys, I want to tell you thank you so much. But because I am respectful of your time and we can continue on this conversation, for sure. And I know little Austin got to get ready to go to bed soon. And
I see her head bobbing on
Yep,
the side.
yep.
Like, yeah,
You already
get
know.
into bed. Like, wrap it
But
up.
I want to tell you guys thank you so much for coming on. Free, you said a whole lot of stuff that I didn't know I needed to hear. Dax, you always come with the knowledge and the energy. And Miss C, it's been beautiful to meet you. And Nate, I got to get you into podcasting because you got shit to say, young man. And
I got shit to say.
you need to say it, and I need a platform for you to be able to do so. He does stuff on YouTube as well. But I do want to go ahead and give you guys the gift of time back. But before I let you go, are there any final thoughts that you guys have?
Thank you for having us, and more LGBTQ voices need to be heard by our podcast. So I think this is a beautiful start, a beautiful platform, and I'm happy to support any way that I can.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Miss C.
Yes, I will second that motion. I am looking forward to the second installment, hopefully when Austin is asleep, because he takes up all my attention.
Right, I understand.
But thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I do look forward to being part of the second part.
Mr. Nate.
I need to be involved more with this because it just brings wisdom and like voices need to be heard. Because like it was a question I really wish that we had got to, which was the DL thing.
Right.
Yes. When I tell you, like, it's so sad how many people are so closeted, but like they would like make a whole family and just try and please other people. You know what I'm saying? Inside be so hurt and so shy and so hidden and stuff like that. So it's just it go deep. It go deep. So I'm here for part 2.
That should be a conversation on its own.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Nate, if you want to come back or all of us come back, we could talk about DL culture because I'm an OG when it comes to that, and the whole new age.
I'm a G.
I mean, seeing the old and the new perspective would be great.
Right.
To have that conversation, and definitely, definitely a conversation to have.
Mr. Angelo, go ahead and take us on out tonight.
No, I mean, I really, really enjoyed our conversation. Frida, C, Nate, I love meeting you guys tonight. I love the stories that we shared tonight. Hopefully, we can definitely push the needle and have further conversations. Again, the whole DL culture, definitely would love to have that conversation. Or any other conversations that you guys want to have. I know that Reggie's up to it and I'm up to it as well. And hopefully you guys will come back. If not individually, again, as a group, as a family, as an LGBT family, which is great. I love it. And I appreciate you guys being with us tonight. I really, really do.
Appreciate y'all having us.
Don't worry, guys. So that is it. That is all we have. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to another episode of Reggie's Expressions. Angelo, you'll get that joke later. Thank you all. And thank you for making a little black boy's dream come into fruition. I think that my mom is happy. I feel her through me every time I do these episodes, which is why I put myself out there. And I do want to continue the conversation because I don't want to wait until somebody try to bring me in. Let me start it. And I appreciate everybody's openness and casualness about the conversation that we had. And I wish we can go on for hours, but Austin got to go to bed because he got to go to school tomorrow. Yep. So with that being said, you guys enjoy your night. Thank you so much. And peace. Don't go anywhere after I end this, okay? So have a good night, guys.
All right, have a good night.
Buenas noches.